Good evening and welcome to this live telephone town hall. Right now we are dialing out to thousands of homes in the Arlington area for this very special event. On this telephone town hall, we're going to be answering your questions live. Our speakers are going to be with us in just a minute, but first I have some instructions on how you can participate in tonight's call. If you have a question at any point during tonight's call, simply press 0 on your keypad. Again, hit 0 on your keypad if you have a question. One of our operators will assist you in asking your question live on the air. If you'd rather have your question read and not go live, you can just let your operator know and we can do that for you, whatever's most comfortable for you. We also encourage you to hit 7 on your keypad. Hit 7 on your keypad at any point during the call to submit your email address to get the very latest from the City of Arlington. The meeting is going to start in just under a minute. Our speakers are here and ready to go. We're just getting more friends and neighbors on the line. And we do have quite a few new folks on the line, so I'm going to repeat part of this message before I turn it over to Mayor Jim Ross, who would like to welcome everyone to this live telephone town hall as we're dialing out to tens of thousands of homes in the City of Arlington for this very special event. On this telephone town hall tonight, we're going to be answering your questions live. Our speakers will be with us in just under a minute, but I do have some instructions, very important. If you have a question tonight, press 0 on your keypad. Again, press 0 on your keypad at any point during the call if you have a question. Our speakers are here to answer your questions about the City of Arlington. Once you hit 0, you'll be placed in a queue and our operators will assist you in asking your question live on the air. If you prefer not to go live on the air, you can just let your operator know and they will read the question for you. Finally, we also encourage you to press 7 on your keypad to submit your email address to get the very latest from the City of Arlington. Again, hit 7. With that, I'd like to turn the call over to Arlington Mayor Jim Ross. Take it away, Mayor.
Thank you, and good evening, everybody, and welcome everyone to tonight's Tele-Town Hall meeting. This town hall meeting is being co-hosted by your District 5 and District 6 Arlington City Council members Rebecca Boxell and Ruby Faye Woolridge. We have assembled key leadership of the city, including representatives from the fire department, the police department, public works and transportation, stormwater, parks department, code compliance, and our city manager's office to address your questions about community issues, including COVID-19, crime, streets, drainage, and parks. And now I'd like to introduce Council Member Ruby Faye Woolridge.
Hello, everybody. I'm Ruby Faye Woolridge. I'm your at-large City Council Member for District 6. I represent all 402,000 Arlington residents. I've lived in Arlington for more than 37 years. I'm the mother of 2 and a grandmother. I'm a retired educator and a counselor from public schools. I retired in 2013. And I'm trying to give an update of myself, but I'm running into my own words. I'm a graduate of Northeastern State University in Oklahoma. I'm an Okie from Muskogee, but I've been here a long time. Also, I finished at Perkins School of Theology at SMU, so I am now on staff at the Potter South of Dallas as a minister while I'm serving as your City Council member for District 6 at large. We started this town hall and planned to have it at the library, but because of COVID, we switched it to Tele-Town Hall because we wanted to make sure we were safe. So I want to thank you for tuning in. We want to be accountable to you and accessible. So if you'd like to reach me, I think maybe at the end I'll give out my handles, okay? So at this time I'll share with my City Council member and my seatmate, Rebecca Boxell.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'm Rebecca Boxell, your council member representing District 5. I'm so happy to be here tonight to connect with citizens of Arlington. We are delighted so many people have already joined us on this call tonight, and we know more will be joining in the Tele-Town Hall as we progress. Now we will have updates from Police Chief Al Jones, our Fire Chief John Croson, and our Director of Public Works and Transportation, Keith Brooks.
Good evening, everyone. I am Al Jones. I'm the Chief of Police. So looking at crime here in Arlington, I can say we're up around 4% citywide. What is driving the majority of our crime here is family violence crime as well as juvenile crime. We're seeing an uptick in domestic assaults or serious aggravated assaults around the city. We're also seeing an increase of sexual assaults as well. I can tell you that this trend is not only here in Arlington, but it's a trend that we're seeing across the country. What also is driving our crime here is our property crime. We've seen a major uptick in theft from autos, and what basically that is we've seen a large increase of the catalytic converters being stolen off the vehicles. So that has been driving the majority of our crime here in Arlington, and I can tell you, as we are looking at moving forward and how we are addressing it, I know back in April I introduced the Operation Connect, which we were looking at reducing violent crime, working on fatalities and traffic accidents, and building relationships in the community. We have 7 different zones here in the city that we've been focusing on. We chose those zones through a deep dive in data, and basically we are deploying our folks across the city based on the data that we've seen over the last 4.5 years. Those areas that we are in, I can tell you they have been an area that we've been focusing on, or the same areas, those areas are the same areas that we've seen a consistent pattern of behavior in those areas, and we are going strongly, heavily after violent offenders. We are actually concentrating on domestic violence. We are sending our victim service coordinators to each and every domestic violence call that we have in the city. So we're just truly trying to make sure that we are addressing violence throughout Arlington. One other thing that I can say about Operation Connect is that it's about building relationships, and I can tell you we have been making our officers get out of the cars and having all kinds of events across the city. We have the parks. We have what is called Cooking with Cops. We've actually put on a series of 6 Cooking with Cops events across the city, and those have been really heavily attended. Between the community engagement, the violent crime reduction, and our traffic safety plan, we have been making a great impact here in Arlington.
Good evening, this is Don Krause, Senior Fire Chief. I want to give you a COVID update. For the last 19 months, we've been combating COVID-19 in many different ways. Your fire department has been a key part of the city effort in keeping COVID in check, and so I'm here tonight to report some good news. Every council meeting, I provide a COVID-19 report to the city council on our status, and our current status is we're now approaching 230,000 vaccinations as a city workforce. The fire department has done over 230,000 vaccinations. We currently maintain a COVID vaccination site on 2920 South Cooper Street, and more good news, it looks like we are beginning to plateau with our current level of hospitalizations in Tarrant County and in the city of Arlington. We watch those hospitalizations very closely because it drives a lot of our emergency medical business, and in fact, it has created a serious amount of stress on the hospital system and the pre-hospital system. And in order to address that stress on the pre-hospital system, Arlington firefighters are now riding in ambulances with patients to the hospital to make sure we have sufficient paramedic coverage in the city. Our plan is working as we are seeing some stress in the pre-hospital workforce environment, the ambulance industry in general, but we've developed a strategy that compensates for loss of employees in that work class, and we are stable. And for me, it's good to see that our plan is working, that hospitalizations in Arlington are beginning to flatten out. In fact, they are beginning to decrease as they are in the county. So this is all good news, but we are not stopping the fight against COVID. We will be continually offering vaccinations for those who qualify for those vaccinations. Those vaccinations are free, while at the same time, we would also encourage you to consider your public health provider or your personal health provider or your local pharmacy to get a vaccination pass. And otherwise, we're going to continue to fight the fight as we can, hoping that we'll eventually be able to find ourselves in a stable position for our community and for the country. So good news right now, but as I always said, the virus tends to do what the virus wants to do, and we'll be ready to combat it in any venue we can. But overall, I would say this is very good news for our community.
Good evening. My name is Keith Brooks. I'm the Director of Public Works and Transportation, and we just wanted to give you a quick update on some of the roadway and drainage projects that we've completed in the last year and what we got coming up. A couple of key projects that we completed last year was of course, the Collins Street project, and this was from Park Road to Pioneer Parkway. We rebuilt the entire 7 lanes of roadway out there, so that was completed last year. We also did some, with stormwater, we also did some stream restoration projects like Key Branch Tributary 4 from Beaver Park to Bradley Lane. We also did some dredging projects as we talk about stormwater for Lower Johnson Creek and also Upper Johnson Creek. We did some dredging. We also did completed a sidewalk project on Medland Drive between Arkansas Lane and Cooper. And a couple other roadways that we were able to complete last year was Nathan Lowe between Matlock and Cooper Street. That was a collaboration between the city of Arlington and Tarrant County. Another project that we completed last year was Eden Road from US 287 to Callender Road. We was able to make that a 3-lane roadway with sidewalk improvements, a walkway path out there, which is a good look aesthetically. So those were some of the major projects that were completed last year. A couple of key projects that we have under construction right now. We have several residential rebuilds that are under construction, but we also, a couple of the major streets that we have under construction, thoroughfares, is Avenue E from 360, the Great Southwest Parkway. It's a complete 4-lane divided roadway that we're totally rebuilding. Also Avenue H from 360 to Great Southwest Parkway. That's also being completely rebuilt. Both of those projects, Avenue H should be completed by October of this year. Avenue E should be completed by November of next year. And then we also have Callender Road that's under construction. So in South Arlington, so from Curry to Harris, is estimated to complete it actually December of this year. That's a 3-lane roadway project where we have bike lanes and sidewalks and landscaping. Another project that's in that same area is Harris Road. So from Callender Road to Cooper, it's a complete rebuild. We're building a 3-lane undivided roadway. So that's under construction right now. It's estimated to be completed in October of 2022 of next year. A couple other projects that we have that's also in the design in storm drainage. We have our Key Branch Tributary 4. This is a stream restoration project. So this will be bid soon and will be completed in October of 2022. And then one of our major projects that we've been working on in stormwater is, of course, our Matthews Court drainage project, phases 1 and 2. This is in the Randall Mill, Sanford area. This is helping us to fix a lot of storm drainage in the area and to prevent homes for flooding. So there's a lot of good work that's going on with that project. And then we have several projects that are, of course, that are in design. One of those that we're working on is Bowman Springs Road from I-20 to Enchanted Bay. Another major project that we're working on is, of course, Center Street. So from Barton Road to Green Oaks. So we'll be extending Center Street from Barton to Green Oaks. So we're looking to start that October of actually 2022. And then another major drainage project that we're doing is California Lane drainage improvement. So that will be coming up soon. So just to give you an update on some of the major projects that we have coming up and in construction. So appreciate your time.
Thank you for those updates from Chief Crowson, from Chief Jones, and from Mr. Keith Brooks from Public Works. Let's get started with the questions now.
Thank you very much. And folks, just a reminder that if you've got a question, just hit 0 on your keypad. Hit 0 on your keypad. We also have operators standing by to collect your email address. If you hit 7 on your keypad now, and an operator will take down your email address, and you can stay connected with the city that way. Our first caller is Mark. Mark, we're going to bring you live. Go ahead with your question, please.
Okay. I guess everybody can hear me. This is Mark Labarta. I appreciate you allowing me to have a few words. It was great to hear about the roads being taken care of. I am calling about how East Arlington is not being kept up as far as picked up, and because the trash that I have seen inside strip shops down many neighborhoods are unreal, and it's like nobody cares. I am a code ranger here in Arlington, and for what I have seen is unbelievable. And I have posted, I don't know at the times, about how things need to be picked up and cleaned up, and cars parked in the yard, trash in the yard, and down the streets and in strip shops. And I have even called City Hall. The mayor was kind enough to return the call, and I let him know about it. But none of the city council members have returned any calls. And I'm really sad about that, because I'd like to see East Arlington kept clean. I've lived here all my life, and to see what's going on now is unbelievable. And I would really appreciate it if y'all would do something about getting people with some pride going on in the neighborhoods and these strip shops that cleaned up. And
Hey, Mark, this is Neil Lucas with Code Compliance. I think we talked here a few weeks ago, and I can give you a call this week with an update on some things going on in your neighborhood, and I can get some more information from you about the commercial centers that you're referring to with some trash. We could definitely take a look into those.
Thank you. We're going to take our next caller. This is Andrew coming up. Andrew, go ahead with your question.
Yes. My call concerns pollution of a different kind, and it is the noise pollution that I find. I work in Dallas County, and so I commute over there every day. And I don't know what the deal is with this particular area, but there's more noise pollution here than there is in any part of Dallas County that I've encountered. It is a tremendous number of loud-throated, a lot of times aftermarket equipped vehicles, Camaros, Chargers, Challengers, Mustangs, pickup trucks, just absolutely boring down the road, sounding like airplanes all hours of the day, night. I know there used to be, I don't know what the current standards are in noise pollution. I know when I was a kid, I got a ticket for having a loud muffler. None of these guys seem to be getting them, and they're 10 times louder. And it's with intent also. I mean, they just buzz by this up and down the street where I live, and all in the area. I can hear them from, in fact, while I've been on the call here, I'm walking my dog now, I've heard 5 or 6. I can't tell how far away they are, but they sound super close because they're so loud. It's just unconscionable to me how we can allow this noise pollution to exist, not take any corrective action against it as far as I know. And there's a lot of speeding also up and down this street. Last year, I put in a request for some speed bumps on this one street where people just blast up and down the street, even though it's not particularly wide. It's a 2-lane, it's not even marked, 30-mile-an-hour zone street. And people are blasting up and down the street. There's cars parked on the side, so there's the danger of, hitting children and pets. And it's crazy. And so last year I put in a request for a speed bumps. They came out and they put up a speed measurement digital sign. And then at the conclusion of that particular period, they said, you know what? Because of COVID, we can't do anything else, which doesn't make.
Hey, Andrew, if you can actually text or send your address, what area your concern is, I can make sure that we increase the enforcement in that area and make sure that we're more visible and try to deal with the noise complaints for you.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes. My name is Ricky Brown, and I'm currently calling with a question related to something what Andrew just had stated. I live on a street, Creek Valley, and cars flopping down my street all day, every day. There's a elementary school on the street about, let's say, a quarter of a mile up the road, and it's almost shameful how people just drive, 40 and 45 miles an hour on the street, realizing that this is a street with a school on it. Of course, where the school zone is, there is a speed limit of 20 miles an hour. But you have kids that walk all the way down and even cross over Green Oaks that goes to that school. And so is there any way that we can get something done about maybe speed bumps because what I would hate to have happen is one of the smaller children get ran over because there are a lot of different cars. Kids play on this street, and someone flying through here and hit a kid just because they are driving too fast. And the north.
Hi, Mr. Brown. This is Keith Brooks, Public Works Director. You were calling in regards to the speed humps. Can speed humps be installed on your street? If you could just contact us, we'll take a look at Creek Valley Drive. We do have to do some analysis to see, the volume of cars, and we do a speed study to see just how fast people are going on the street, and we have to do the analysis. Part of that is that you and the street that you're referring to, you and your neighbors that are on that street, you would have to have at least 5 people submit a petition to request that we want speed humps, and then at that point, the city will evaluate it, and if it does, and at that point, we'll come up with a kind of like an area of influence as far as, your neighbors and everybody in that neighborhood that drive down that street to see if not just you and your neighbors on your street, but those that also use your street to get in and out of their neighborhood, if that is something that they would want. And then there would have to be a petition, but we would have to go through the process of looking at the speed study and seeing if it is a problem and it's something that the city would need to address. But we can get in contact with you and discuss the process with you.
Ricky, this is Chief Jones. What I can do is make sure I put Creek Valley on one of our enforcement lists so that we'll have direct patrols over there, so you'll see more officers in your area.
Thank you very much, folks. If you've got a question, just a reminder, you can hit zero anytime. We appreciate all the questions that are coming in. We also encourage you to hit 7 when you get a moment. Hit 7 and you'll leave the call just for a few seconds and share your email address. Up next, we have Stefan. Go ahead, Stefan.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you. Go ahead.
All right. Hello, I'm Stefan Paljo, and so I attended the budget town halls, and I was informed that Browning Drive and other streets in East Arlington and around the city are in a map for future repairs. As I've shared that information with my neighbors and people who live around me near Browning Drive, they asked about a timeline. So my question is, what is the timeline for Browning Drive to receive repairs, and will that include beautification and other things such as like how New York Avenue right next to it is beautified and it looks really good. So I'd like to see more roads like New York Avenue. And secondly, I believe on Park Row and Browning Drive where they connect, there may be missing signage on that street, because when you're turning left on Browning Drive, there's not a sign saying for the cars to yield on green, or green, I think. And so I think that if there's missing signage, I wouldn't know about that, but it seems like there would be, because I've seen dangerous situations in that area where people who may not be familiar with the area don't know that they have to yield to the cars oncoming. So those are my questions. And of course, I think that there needs to be better upkeep of the infrastructure in East Arlington, because it'll help with a lot in the community and also with response times with the fire department and EMC. So that's all.
Stefan, this is Keith Brooks, Director of Public Works and Transportation. Appreciate your question. We have done a lot of street repairs and rebuilds in East Arlington. We focused a lot of attention in that area, especially with our residential rebuild program. We'll take a look at we've already taken a look at the Browning Drive. I need to confirm with my field ops exactly when we will be able to do major repairs on Browning. I know it's not set up for a rebuild right now, but there will be some major repairs done. Now, you were asking about will it be a beautification program or a project similar to New York. As of right now, it won't be set up as a beautification type. New York was set up as sort of a corridor that was coordinated with the community and things of that nature. But this particular project would be just a regular maintenance type project. But we'll take a look at that, and then we'll also take a look at the signage, if there is missing signage at the intersections that you mentioned, to make sure the proper signage is installed.
Thank you very much. And folks, we'll take a quick break here to share a very important public service announcement with you regarding the City Council district redistricting. Redistricting for the City of Arlington's 5 single-member districts is currently underway. This happens every 10 years after the completion of the U.S. Census. The Arlington City Council appointed a 9-member redistricting task force to develop preliminary maps for final consideration. They have met twice and will meet periodically in the coming weeks and months to complete their work by the end of 2021. You can check out arlingtontx.gov/news for the latest information on upcoming meetings and ways to participate in the process. Thank you very much. We've got our next caller. This is Ron. Ron, we've got a lot of callers here tonight. We're trying to get through as many questions, so if you can be as brief as possible with your question. Go ahead, Ron.
Yes, I think this was for me. It was Don Hart, and I live in the northwest part of Arlington, and I live adjacent to the Arlington Nature Preserve. Northwest Nature Preserve. So I want to start by commending you for acquiring that property. I know there was a Heritage Fund involved and everything else. And it's, anybody that's on this call and has not ever seen this property needs to do so. Now, the concern I have is the fact that there is not much upkeep or ability to follow up on posted signs. There is a gate there off where people are supposed to park. It's never closed, although it says that these are the hours, et cetera. And unfortunately, 2 or 3 times a year, I have to call the police because somebody is putting a firearm or shooting firearms back there. So,
thank you, Don. Let's give our council members and city staff a chance to respond.
This is Michael DeBreck, Park Operations Manager. I assume you're speaking. We have 2 nature preserves. I would assume you're speaking of Crystal Canyon. But we can get your email information and check on all your questions.
All right. Up next, we have Martha, who's calling in. Martha, go ahead with your question, please.
Good evening. Again, my name is Martha Gibbons, and I live in Southwest Arlington. Every morning I walk in one of our Arlington parks, Stovall Park, on Tuesdays and Fridays mostly, but this week it was an additional day. The actual sprinkler systems there in the park are not working properly at all. I noticed in my water bill, I don't know about anybody else in Arlington, it says to preserve water, right? Well, the city parks do not do that. And I've been talking to several of the people that walk in the park every morning with me, and I understand this has been going on for years. I'm talking past 5 years. They have called in and tried to express the same concern that water heads, whatever sprinkle heads, they water the benches, the seats, the tables. They water the signs. They water the sidewalk. They do everything but water the grass. And not only that, we have a lot of senior citizens that walk in that park in the mornings, and it is a hazard because they choose to set the water system to come on early in the mornings when people are out walking. So again, there's a hazard. There's plenty of them that don't work properly. There was a leak about 2 weeks ago there. They did fix the leak, and you would think they would have checked all the other heads, but they didn't. So.
Thank you so much, Martha. Let's give our city a chance to respond.
Hi, Martha. This is Michael, the Direct Park Operations Manager. All irrigation is supposed to run during park closure hours, so it would be 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. So evidently there's a glitch in the system that we can easily fix. So we'll look into that first thing tomorrow morning.
All right, and we do have a caller here, Nancy. I'm going to read Nancy's question so we can get through some of these questions a little bit faster. But she's wondering what the constant vibration is since January 2nd. It's also weekends last year and last night. The neighbors feel it too, and they have found new foundation cracks and a picture of the wall that's shaking. Wondering if there's a large generator or anything in the area that's creating this shaking.
So this is Lemuel Randolph, Deputy City Manager. What we'd like to get from you is a more specific location so we can make a determination of what you may be referring to. So please leave your information and we'll certainly circle back with you to give more details and answer your question.
And now we have Lisa. Lisa, if we can have your question, please.
Hi there. First of all, I just wanted to thank you all for what you do. I much appreciate you. And I honestly feel like I live in one of the best cities in the U.S. So my question is real quick. I just wondered about the senior recreation center that you guys were building and what the status is on it. I'm going to mute myself and let you go now.
This is Mike Hunter, the Interim Director of Parks and Rec. Thanks for the question. The Active Adult Center is in the planning stages. We just moved into a design phase to get more detail on it. And then we will be going into a more construction phase after that. Currently, it's scheduled to be completed in 2024. But we are well underway, looking at the budgets, looking at all the programming of the space. But we are also very excited about the space as well as the community. So we are working hard to get it done as quickly as possible.
Thank you. We've got another important announcement here for you folks regarding COVID. And with the presence of the more contagious Delta variant, Tarrant County's COVID-19 community spread level has increased to high, and local hospitals are reporting a substantial increase in hospitalizations. The Arlington Fire Department continues to encourage residents ages 12 and older to get a COVID-19 vaccine to protect themselves and the community during the pandemic. Arlington Fire is holding weekly vaccine clinics at its public health building located at 2920 62920 South Cooper Street. Residents ages 18 and up can choose between the 2-dose Moderna or Pfizer vaccines or the single-dose Johnson & Johnson vaccine. The Pfizer vaccine is available to residents 12 and older. No appointments are necessary for the clinics, which are available between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. We'll get back to your calls, and we will take Lauren is up next. Go ahead, Lauren.
Hi, my name is Lauren Dillard. I live in Southwest Arlington. I went to a food truck Friday, this past Friday, where I noticed that there was only 4 food trucks. I have heard from many people inside of the community that it is hard to get a food truck permit in the city of Arlington. I was wondering if you guys were able to maybe host education classes or hand out more information at your Food Truck Fridays about getting a permit for a food truck in the city of Arlington.
Laura, this is Lemuel Randolph, the Deputy City Manager. We do have procedures for vendors to get food truck permits, but your point is well taken in terms of providing more education for potential vendors in Arlington. The Food Truck Friday program was a kind of a concept program we developed several years ago to provide an opportunity for the public to engage at a park setting with food trucks kind of as the draw. And so it's a really important program to us, and if you are aware of specific vendors that are having challenges in meeting our permitting requirements, we could certainly take a look at providing more education and resources for them to understand that process. Really appreciate your question.
Thanks so much. Now we have John calling in. John, go ahead.
Yes, my name is John from South Arlington, and one thing I wanted to tell you people that you've done an excellent job on building roads around me, and the park that I go to, Kane, is absolutely immaculate and is used all the time by the community. So you guys should be proud of yourselves. My question is, there's a part on Calendar Road where you haven't done anything that goes up to the elementary school. And in the mornings, parents take their children to school, and I understand that. I don't know why they don't take the bus, but the parents drive the kids to school, and it backs up a lot of traffic. Is there anything in the works for the future to make that road wider?
Hi, John. This is Keith Brooks, Director of Public Works and Transportation. As far as Calendar Road, there's not a plan to make it wider as of right now. We are working on a section of Calendar Road, but it's right there at South Arlington, from Harris Road heading up north to where it connects to Eden Road or Curry Road. But there's no future plans to make Calendar Road any wider than it is to the north of that.
Our next question comes from Nancy. Nancy, before we bring you live, folks just want to encourage you to hit 0 if you've got a question. We've got plenty of questions, but we could always use more. So just hit 0 on your keypad, please. We'll take Nancy now. You're up, Nancy.
Yes, I have a quick question, possibly a follow-up. What is the percentage of Arlington residents who have been vaccinated against COVID?
Hi, Nancy. This is Don Krause, the Fire Chief. I'm responsible for the vaccination effort here in the city of Arlington. We're providing, I wish I could give you an exact number, but I can tell you that the Tarrant County Public Health Director has told me personally that Arlington tends to fare more favorably as compared to the rest of the cities in Tarrant County from a vaccination perspective. Part of that is because of our large-scale vaccination effort in the months of January, February, March, and April. And we, quite frankly, have not stopped vaccinating. We've been vaccinating since December 28th, and we are vaccinating today at 2920 South Cooper Street at our vaccination site. So the good work of the firefighters and our the support from city leadership has really kept our numbers relatively stable in comparison with some of the other communities in Tarrant County. In fact, we tend to trend a little bit behind the others in the number of cases per zip code. With that, though, as I've said before, the virus will do what it wants to do, and the Delta variant has clearly become more widespread. The best bet for all of our community is the vaccine, and we're providing that free of charge to anyone who wants that, and would encourage you and your friends and your neighbors to consider that as an option. Thank you for your call.
Up next, we have Daphne calling in. Daphne, go ahead with your question.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you, Daphne. Go ahead.
Okay, great. I visited the lake house probably about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and then I went back on a Sunday and sat out at Lake Arlington, and I noticed that there was no snack machines or anything to purchase while you sat out and enjoyed the weather there. And I had a couple who approached me to ask me if there was a place that they could purchase anything to eat or to drink because it was their first time there. So I'm wondering if the city has any plans, or has this been brought up before that maybe there'd be an opportunity for a food truck to sit there or some kind of vending machine someplace. I don't know. I know people bring picnic things, but if it's your first time, you may not know to do that. So that's my question.
We've had vending machines actually out there in the past, and they really didn't go over well, whether they were vandalized or not used. And so we always encourage in park settings for people to come out and picnic and bring their own. And there is a Shell station up the road that they can get vending from as well.
Our next question comes from Fabiana, who asked to have her question read. Fabiana wonders, she's close to the Webb Community Park. Is there a plan to do more sidewalks around the park? Thanks, Fabiana.
Hi, this is Michael DeBreck, Park Operations Manager again. In the master plan, there are calls for more sidewalks, but they're in different phases of the park, so I'm not quite sure if and when they will be done. Webb Community Park sidewalks do connect to Bowman Branch Linear Park, which is now about a 4-mile stretch of linear trail that they can walk on.
Next up, we have Barbara calling in. Barbara's got a question on COVID. Let's hear your question, Barbara.
Yes, I had heard that there had been some breakthrough cases, a few at a nursing home, on people that have been fully vaccinated. Do you have any kind of information about how much breakthrough there's been, and do you recommend a third shot?
Hi, Barbara. This is Don Krausen. The state of Texas is working directly with the nursing homes on this issue. We haven't seen too many breakthrough cases from nursing homes. There have been a few. From a recommendation perspective from the third shot, we certainly do recommend the third shot for those over the age of 65 and those with immune-compromised issues. Clearly, the vaccination does work. The folks we are seeing in the hospitals are the unvaccinated, so it's clear to us just from the data that the vaccine does work. If we detect a serious problem in the nursing homes, the fire department will be responding out there and helping the state address those issues, but at this time we're not seeing that kind of activity. Thank you for your call.
This is Philip calling in. Philip, go ahead.
Hi, yes, I was wondering about road construction, especially for new residential areas. Recently I visited the Viridian area, and like many areas of the older parts, basically the streets are narrow or only passable by one car in one direction at a time. I was wondering if in new construction of residential, if you could make the streets wider or limit parking to, say, the odd number side of the street or something like that, so that people could get through easier and make it easier for first responders to access. Thank you.
Hi, Philip. This is Keith Brooks, Director of Public Works and Transportation. All of our residential rebuilt streets, we build those to our city standard, and they're 28 feet from back of curb to back of curb. And, of course, we work with our first responders as far as on our design. And it is wide enough for first responders to get through, even with cars parked on both sides of the road. We can't limit residents from parking, on their street. Now, if there is an actual visibility issue or something like that, that's something we can investigate in certain areas, and we might can put up no parking signs, but there would have to be an agreement with not only you, but also your neighbors that are affected on that section. And normally when we put up no parking signs, it's for an entire block. So that's also something to consider. But we have taken a look at that, and we do feel that a 28-foot wide street is adequate for residential neighborhoods. Thank you for your question.
Thank you so much. Folks, this is your last call. If you'd like to submit your email address to the city for important updates on COVID and many other things, hit 7 now. Again, your last call, if you want to share your email address, hit 7 now. Also hit 0 if you've got a question. We're going to go to Marilyn live next. Marilyn, go right ahead.
Yes. My concern is I live in South Arlington. My name is Marilyn, and I'm right after the street Collins off of Manfield Webb. There's a community straight across from me, and next is the Webb Park on the side of me, and then Gilligan Elementary School. It's just a 2-lane highway and road, and it's becoming a real mess trying to get in and out, especially during school hours. Unless people stop and allow you common courtesy to come in and out of the community or the school, even the buses, they're going to do something about maybe stop sign, red lights, caution lights, something to help us be able to get in and out safely.
Hi, Marilyn. This is Keith Brooks, Director of Public Works and Transportation. We can take a look at that. Now, in order for a signal or something or traffic signal to be installed, they would have to pass different warrants before it can be justified to put in a signal. But we can take a look at your particular location and see what's going on, and also talk with the school. There are times that they might use a school resource officer to help with some of the traffic control in the roadways to help people get in and out. But for the most part, we would have to take a look at that and see if there's anything we can do in working with the school. Unfortunately, if you're on Mansfield Road, it is a 2-lane roadway. It's not scheduled to be widened anytime soon, but we can take a look at it and see if there's anything we can do to help. Appreciate your question.
Up next, we have Jerome. Jerome, go ahead with your question.
Yes, this is Jerome. I'm calling regarding the third shot that might be available for the Moderna vaccine. Wondering if you know of any facilities or places where that shot would be offered. I understand it's a half shot as far as the dosage is concerned. I also wonder about, since this is pretty new territory, are there any requirements at those places to have any facility for a person that might have some unexpected result as a result of that? I haven't heard that been discussed yet.
Hi, Jerome. This is Don Krause, the fire chief. I'm responsible for the vaccination effort for the city. Currently, Moderna is not authorized for a third shot vaccination yet. Pfizer currently is for those over the age of 65 and immunocompromised conditions. We expect Moderna to be approved or authorized shortly. We haven't heard back from the FDA or the CDC on this yet. When they do authorize it, we expect Moderna to be authorized at the same level that Pfizer is for those over the age of 65 and those with pre-existing conditions. From a vaccination site perspective, we do monitor patients 15 to 30 minutes just in case they have a reaction. Thank you for your call.
We've got an important announcement for you, folks, regarding VIA, Arlington's on-demand public transit service. It now reaches all neighborhoods, shopping centers, offices, restaurants, medical facilities, and other key destinations across the American Dream City. Riders can book a shared ride 6 days a week using the smartphone application or dialing phone number 817-784-7382. The service operates between 6 a.m. and 9 p.m. between Monday through Friday, and 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. on Saturdays. Fares are now based on trip distance and rides ranging from just $3 to $5 per trip. You can visit arlingtontx.gov/via to learn more. Up next, we have Augustin. Augustin, go ahead, please.
Hello? Yes, my name is Augustine. I'm from East Arlington, and I was wondering about are y'all going to go door to door, ask people if they got their vaccinations or not?
Augustine, this is Don Krause, Fire Chief, State of Arlington. No, we will not be doing that. The vaccine is not mandatory. It is optional, it's elective, and there is no consideration for any type of activity such as going door to door or anything that would infringe on your rights to make a decision for yourself. So that's where we're at. That's a good question, and we appreciate the opportunity to answer that. Thank you.
Great information. Folks, thank you for participating in this Tele-Town Hall. We've gotten through a lot of questions. We appreciate that. We're now at our allotted time, so we will turn it back over to Mayor Jim Ross, Council Member Ruby Faye Woolridge, and Council Member Rebecca Boxall for some closing comments.
Okay, I want to thank everyone for calling in. It has been an honor and a pleasure to hear your questions, and we're learning so much from you this evening. I really appreciate your participation. I think we saw over, 1,369 people took the time to reach out and communicate with us. We want to be accessible, we want to be available, and we want to be accountable to you. So we appreciate your help, and I am eternally grateful to city staff, especially Chief Jones, Chief Crowson, to Keith Brooks, and all of the, also the Parks Department. I don't want to miss anybody. Did I miss anybody back there? Code compliance. How could I forget him? We love code compliance on our neighborhood. He does a good job. I can call one evening, and the next day it's fixed, and I can say the same thing about Keith Brooks and Chief Jones and Crowson. So we have a great team, and I'm excited about the work we do, along with our City Manager, Trey Yelverton, who's joined us, and our Deputy City Manager, Jim Paragon, along with Deputy Manager Lemuel Randolph, and our Communication Legislative Affairs Director, Mr. Jay Warren, and we couldn't do anything without Andy Davis, and she keeps everybody's train running on time. But I do want to share with you and our citizens, my fellow City Council Member, Rebecca Boxall.
Thank you. Thank you for all of you for joining us tonight. There were some really good questions, and I'll be reviewing those in the coming days. If you have any questions or comments after the town hall, if you're like me, you think of questions later, you can email me at rebecca.boxall@arlingtontx.gov. That's rebecca.boxall@arlingtontx.gov. Thank you, and have a good evening.
I also want to add my phone number. It's 817-459-6143, 817-459-6143. Or you can email me at rubyfaye.woolridge@arlingtontx.gov. Do you have any wise words for our city manager?
Yes, Councilmember, one last thing I would add. Trey Yelverson, the city manager, there are a few questions that we didn't get to this evening, so we do have those in our system, and we'll make sure in the next day or two that someone from our staff reaches back out to you to answer the questions we weren't able to get to this evening. So thank you all for those.
And I have one last word. Because of you, we can have a better Arlington for everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you.